This is a Dyson vacuum cleaner, and it's very expensive, but you know it's not expensive? The TV that I'm going to show you today. This is the Insignia Fire TV. Now, one thing I can't figure out about these TVs is the model number. So check this out. NS55UQFL26. And this is a liquid crystal display with direct backlights, and that's just a mouthful. This is a QLED 4K Ultra HD television that supports Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, DTS, and Alexa. And I'm sorry if I triggered your device. For the price of this TV, it could be a great bedroom TV, living room TV. We just don't know until we get it out of the box and see if it's ready for your living room. So let's go ahead and get this opened up so we can take a closer look at it. And I would say that this TV is not available in all the sizes because I expected to find a 43-inch, but this was available in a 55, 65, and 75. Of course, we have the typical feet that comes with most budget televisions, and they're made out of plastic. Inside of here, we have instruction guide, power cord, some screws, and here's the remote control. As you can see here, it has your Amazon Alexa button, your navigation. Here's all your controls, volume, channels, and you have some hotkeys at the bottom. And one of the cool things about having a Fire TV is that it can control all your devices directly from the television. All right, let's get to the TV. And inside of here, it does have a piece of cardboard, a bit of smaller TV. It looks like it weighs around 25 pounds. On the bottom, we have some screw holes to mount the feet. Over here, we have this teeny tiny speaker. I'm sure it's gonna sound pretty decent. And if we go over here, there's a little press button. Turn the TV off, get through some basic menu options. So it's easy to mount the feet on. It's just 2 screws. And now we're gonna take a look at the back of the TV. As you see here, this looks very familiar. And just so you know, it does have screw holes right here, so you can easily mount it on the wall. And there's an Ethernet connection back here on the back. On the left-hand side of the TV, we do have a power cord input. And one thing is you use a standard power cord so you can easily extend the wire. And we have a USB 2.0. There's 3 HDMIs, and the bottom one is eARC to go over to your audio system. Down here we have a TV tuner, headphone jack, and we do have a digital output to go over to your audio system. All right, we got the microphone fixed, and now we have the screen protector to go ahead and pull off the television. So you will see this orange tab, and you just kind of pull it off the screen like this. Satisfying. Now, first thing we'll do is check out some movies and the colors on this TV. And one thing that's very surprising is the black levels are actually pretty good. I didn't expect it to be that clear. And here's another movie. And I will say that in SDR mode, the colors are crisp and very white and detailed. And I think I would be happy with this TV, especially that the fact you can hook it up to Amazon. So if you was to get this TV for movies, I think you're going to be very happy with the results on it because everything looks really good. More surprising than I thought. Now, I wouldn't say that it's completely perfect, but look at what I'm seeing. You see how these flowers are popping out? This black level is good. I don't really see any gray over here. I don't see any bleed around the edges. We haven't gotten to all the tests, but so far, it's looking pretty good. Very promising for this television. Now, one thing I do notice is that we do have a little bit of gradient on this, but it could just be the signal. This is not a high performance signal. This is just a YouTube video that I want to play so you guys can see the black level on it. And to take us up a notch, I want to turn off all the lights in the room so you can still see how good the picture looks. Again, I can see now a little bit of backlight bleed, but not that much at all. And look at the darkness of the contrast on it. The brightness of the picture. So when it comes to performance at the price of this Fire TV, if you're okay with the operating system, I think it actually looks really good for the average person who's not looking to spend a lot of money, but enjoys the Fire TV and Amazon products because you'll have access to all that on this TV as well. Now we're playing some sports on YouTube TV, and I would say that this signal is not the best, but it looks very presentable. I need to put on something a little bit higher end because I can see a lot of infringement around the edges. And switching channels, I think this signal looks much better. It's a lot cleaner. It all comes down to what you're playing. So for those who are playing IPTV all the time, sometimes that signal looks better on a 1080p TV because those TVs don't have as much resolution as something like this. But this one's very presentable as sports. Now this is Apple TV Plus, the morning show, and we're going to take a look at some of the different picture profiles. So right now it's in SDR mode and the picture profile is standard. But let's switch through some of these different ones. We have movie, and this looks really flat. You lose some of the details, but it is going to give you that cinematic look. We have dynamic, which is the brighter one. We have natural, which looks similar to movies. And we have custom. Now we're going to check out HDR10 Plus. And again, we're back on standard mode. And here we have movie. I think it looks a lot better than your SDR mode. We have dynamic, we have natural. And the last one we're going to take a look at is Dolby Vision. So yes, this TV does support it. We have Dolby Vision Bright, Dolby Vision Dark, which almost gets too dark. And we have Dolby Vision Gaming down here at the bottom. But all these settings, I prefer Dolby Vision Bright, but you might like Dolby Vision Dark, and that'd be great for watching it with a sleep timer on late at night. Now we're going to check out the gaming on the PS5, and I would say that when I switched over to gaming mode, the TV did get much darker, so sorry about the image. And I've already checked out the 1440p just to see what the capabilities are. So if we go over here to where it says information as far as the connected HDMI device, you can see at 2160, which is 4K, it will support 48 Hertz up to 60 Hertz, and HDR is supported. If we drop down to 1440p, now we get support up to 120 Hertz. We still get the HDR, and cool thing about it, if we go down to 1080p, we still get 120 Hertz. So that's very surprising in this television. When I pulled up the menu, you can see that auto low latency is covered. There's another feature down here called DOG. I'll look that up in just a minute. And then we also have the variable refresh rate. So you have plenty of controls. And if you go down to advanced settings, you have white balance and all these different settings right here to enhance the picture quality, including a local contrast enhancer. So if I turn it on, it don't really do much in the gaming mode, but just let you know, these are options that are in the TV.
Members of the resistance, report to your nearest intake facility immediately. We promise nothing nefarious will befall you. We promise.
Whew, masterful work. Now get out of there and decrypt that thing.
Give a big welcome to the grand marshals of our parade.
We're going to do these tests with the light off so we can take a look at the screen in the darkness. And I don't see any blooming on this television when it comes to that. I just noticed that it doesn't have the inkiest black levels. And again, when you're buying budget price televisions, you're not going to get local dimming zones or anything like that. But for what it is, I think it's very presentable. And it's not something that you're going to notice, especially when you know you're saving a little bit of money buying a TV on this level. And here's the dirty screen on the television. You do have some blotchy areas. So if I pause this, I can see some on the camera right in here and right over here. But this is not something you're going to notice on a daily basis. It's just something if you have a gray screen, and we're just seeing how the screen actually performs. Now, I must say, switching over to this 480p content, it actually looks really good. Upscaling is going to be much better than you expect. And let's take a look at something while I'm in here. If we go down to the picture in advanced settings, in the settings, if you go down to display and go down here to the bottom, you do have these screen sizes. So a 16:9, you have 4:3, you have zoom, and you have native. So you do have some controls, but in some cases you have to use an external device to get controls of that. Here we have 1080p content on it, and the upscaling works fantastic. In fact, just by looking at this, it looks like 4K to me. So if you're looking to put at least 720p, 1080p content, the upscaling on it, you're going to be very satisfied with it. And even on this boat, I don't see a lot of fringing around the edges here. Everything looks nice and clean. Of course, it will be better with 4K, but with 1080p, I'm very satisfied with how good this picture looks. This is motion at 24 frames per second, and look how smooth it is in standard mode. If we switch over to movie mode, you can see it gets a little more choppy, and that's so it can smooth out the resolution on those type of movies. Dynamic's going to get a little bit smoother, and natural will get a little more jittery again. And just so you know, this TV also has motion processing. So some of the older Fire TVs didn't have this feature, but now we have medium and we have high. So you have a lot better controls, and the motion is smooth when it comes to this TV, especially whenever using standard mode. Now we're switching over to 60 frames per second, and as expected, no matter which picture profile you put it in, it's going to look very smooth. So it all depends on the signal, but one great thing about this TV is that it does a really good job with motion. Now here's a quick rundown of the audio system. You see that we have different sound modes. We have bass and treble. We also have advanced setting down here at the bottom. And this is a dialogue enhancer. You have auto level, And you do have simulated Dolby Atmos just with the 2 TV speakers. There's also a built-in EQ. And if we go back here to the sound modes, at the top here, we have movie, music, sports, and clear voice. So there's the options for sound. And also want to say that it also supports virtual DTS.
This is a Tech Steve voice audio test to see how good this TV sounds.
No falla, te llevo pa' la playa, el sol te ha puesto fuego.
And here's the Fire TV application on the Android. I just hit open, and we want to finish up the settings on the television. So the first thing we'll do is choose your language, and then we can scan this barcode. So what I'm going to do is just go and scan on that, press on the app, hit allow, and now it's searching for the TV. Press on continue, and as you notice here, it has already set up the network, as we can see right there. Now it's looking for updates, and it will automatically connect to your Amazon account from the application. Now you can go and press on the available TV from the app, and then it's going to ask for a 4-digit code. Next, you will use the remote control to hit continue, and you can restore from a previous install or you can skip it. If you have children, you can subscribe to Amazon for Kids Plus. You can add more streaming services, you can add parental controls, and you can subscribe to newsletters. Once you put everything in, just say I got it. And if you have antenna plugged in, it will scan for channels. And here you can choose different profiles for everyone in your family. This is a demo account. And that's pretty much it. Now it's going to load up and pre-install some applications. Now, if you do install an application, you can use the controls on your phone to get through all the screens, but it does have some lag to it. You also can pull up a keyboard and you can type it right there on your phone. Now, just so you know, if you're using the application on your phone, you do have controls. You also have a night mode. You can pull up a keyboard and search from your device. You have the voice commands, and you can get quick access to your favorites. Another thing you can do with this is that if you go back to the main screen, you can change the volume up and down as well as the channels. If you slide it over, you go back to your main controls, and then there's your favorites right there at the bottom. Now, as far as the operating system, when you use the remote control, it's a lot quicker than using the application because it could be a delay with your Wi-Fi. But as you can see here, it's pretty fast overall, and that's one of the great things about Amazon software. One thing I want to point out here is that that's where you're going to find your inputs, and you can choose through all your different connections. You have your stuff, search, home, live TV, and this is where all the apps are down here. If you go to the gear over here, you have your inputs as well as your notifications, your different profiles. You can change your Wi-Fi if you need to. You also can adjust your sound, uninstall applications, hook up equipment, hook up Bluetooth controllers, and this is where you have your Amazon voice commands. And that's a quick look at the Fire TV operating system. All right, so I showed you guys a lot about this television, but let's talk about the pros and cons. Some of the cons for me, I have really 3 that stands out for me is 1, the sound quality. Definitely get you a sound bar. It just sounds really teeny, but there's a lot of people who don't want to add sound bars, so you might be okay with 20 watts of power for your audio system. The second con is that you're not going to get that dark level on anything that has really, really black scenes. It may have like a little bit of gray look to it, which is expected on budget television. And the third con is there's no source button over here. You have to go to the main screen or pull up the menu to switch inputs. This TV relies on what they call CEC. And what that is that if I turn on an Apple TV, it'll switch over. If I turn on a PlayStation, it'll switch to that automatically. And then you can hit the house button to go back to the main TV's interface. So just keep that in mind. But let's talk about the positives. The fact that this TV has voice commands, I can say, what's the weather like today? Or I can open up any of the applications right from your voice commands. Also, being that it is Amazon's Fire, it's going to work with all your devices in your house. If you have, the little Echo units and things like that, that's going to be great. Some other positives, I thought it had a really good picture. Depends on what you're looking for. It's not going to be the brightest TV, but this would be a great TV to put in your living room if you're not into TVs that much, or a great bedroom TV, garage TV. I think it'll be just fine for that. Also, the motion, it was very smooth. The fact when I put it on standard mode, how smooth the image was, you can't beat that in a budget price television. So That's all I have on this video. If you guys have any questions, make sure you leave that in the comments below. And if you're interested in buy one, be sure to use my links below because it doesn't cost you more, but it helps me buy more budget television so I can review more televisions for you. I put everything back into the business. I'm Tech Steve. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We have some exciting things coming out for the holidays. And that's all I have on this one. Thanks all for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.